Making Stuff with Chris Dayhut in our segment, This Maker's Tools. For today's story or subject matter, we're going to be talking about workbenches. I know you're thinking, a workbench isn't a tool, and you're nuts, Chris. I agree with the nuts part, but let's be realistic here. A workbench is a foundational tool by which work is performed, and all other tools are supported by the workbench. So from my perspective, the workbench is something that is used in the execution and completion of a task. A well-designed workbench improves the process of performing work. Workbenches are everywhere, all over an industry, garages, homes, and just about every kitchen in the world. They have been around since the early Middle Ages. This reference that I'm showing you here on this web page was created by Christopher Schwartz, and it was posted in a blog called Shop Blog. And here he found some images of a workbench here dating back to approximately 50 AD. If you look carefully, this fella is using a mallet and a chisel of some sort. Now, I can't really vouch for the accuracy of this, but there are other references going back to the Roman era where the first use of workbenches occurred. And of course, it was in the hobby, or I shouldn't say the hobby at that time, the trade of woodworking. Very specifically making furniture and other wooden structures. Throughout the years, the bench has of course evolved. This is another very simple one with 4 legs and a board on the top, and you perform your work on it. You'll notice here perhaps a couple of little pegs that are acting as a bench dog to help prevent the board from slipping as he's carving it or planing it with his hand tools. And here is another reference to a bench. Again, the same style, again with the pegs, mallets, chisels. So I assume this one, whoever the artist was for that image, was the same for this image. But again, working with a hand plane and mallets and a chisel. So there is a long history of workbenches in modern man's time. And in all cases, you'll find that they help facilitate the execution and completion of work or a task. I mentioned that workbenches exist in kitchens. You're going, what? I don't do woodworking in the kitchen or fix my car or build something in there. Think about it. All of the food preparation work is performed on a countertop or an island in a kitchen. That's a prime example of the widespread need and use for workbenches. It is migrated into our homes, into our kitchens, and it is used probably daily. There are a tremendous variety of workbenches out there. Some are purchased, some are made. We'll be talking here in a moment about this particular bench that I'm at. Some just are handed down from family. Some are a converted piece of furniture. You'll often see desks converted into workbenches in a shop. They work very effectively, especially if they're well built. Here is a website that sells a brand of workbenches, Schoberg, and I have one of these, not this one, but a smaller version of it in my shop, out in the machine shop. Now these can be very pricey. These are the larger ones, and it's in their Elite series, so that'll give you a kind of a hint as to where they fit in the price range. But the smallest one is at $2,746 US, up to $4,545 US. So workbenches definitely run the full spectrum, and I'm certain if you go into industrial situations in some of the shops and factories I've been in, Some of the workbenches are even far more expensive, but they're made much more sturdy and meant to provide a lot more safety and ergonomics that are needed in modern day manufacturing. Modern workbenches are constructed from a wide variety of materials these days. As you just saw, the typical woodworking workbench, the Schoberg, is all out of wood. In industrial applications, some workbenches might still have a wood top, but their framing and everything else is typically metal. For mechanics, machinists, and everybody else, it's more into that heavy-duty, heavy construction out of some form of metal. One thing that is common, workbenches across the whole spectrum are often tailored to the trade or application. For example, that $4,500 Schoberg woodworking bench probably isn't really suitable. It could be used for it, but it's not ideally suitable as a filming stage for YouTube videos or as an electronics workbench. In my shop, I have 3 workbenches. This one in particular was originally designed as an electronics workbench. It is constructed of aluminum extrusions and wood. The extrusions I work with are from an industrial supplier called 80/20, and their products are used throughout industrial facilities to make everything from simple tool hangers to very complex machine tool safety guarding and everything in between. I really like to work with this particular material because it's all bolt together. You can easily cut the aluminum extrusions to the size and shape you want, and it's all fastened with basic simple screws and plates and, in some cases, nuts. The cost of this bench is hard for me to estimate, but I suspect it has cost me somewhere between $500 and $1,000. Being that it was built from a lot of leftover extrusions from previous projects, I never really paid any attention to the cost or the investment in it. At this point in the game with this workbench, I have no idea what it costs. I don't care because it works perfectly for what I'm doing today. It has evolved since it was originally built. Being held together with fasteners, I've adjusted the components several times. I've attached additional extrusions to it to attach other objects and devices to the bench. All around, it has been in a constant state of change since I created it. Being that its purpose was originally as an electronics workbench, and now it's dual purpose in that it is literally a filming stage for most of my YouTube videos, at least portions of them, and it does serve as my workbench for all my electronic projects, from building robotics to working on new circuits to programming microcontrollers and Raspberry Pis, etc. All in all, this tool, my workbench, has become very universal in what I want to do with it. It is flexible in design, so I keep modifying it to make it better and better and better. With that, I hope this video gives you a little different perspective on the lowly workbench in your shop. Give it a little more respect. It's helping you in tremendous ways that you may never even have considered. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. She's been in and if she's smoking cigarettes in the men's room, you want to show